Welcome to Creativism, the show for creatives, filmmakers, Christians, and productivity nerds. I'm your host, Josh the Creative. So in this episode, this is actually going to be the start of a series. So I don't have like an overall title for this series, but essentially what's going to happen is we're going to be assessing failure. We're going to kind of see what that is, what that feels like. We're going to then switch to discouragement and fear, and we're going to analyze and then break those down. Not just break down and analyze, but break down as in shutting it down, and then shifting into taking on your next project, taking on those goals, those next areas of life. So this is going to be like a 6-part series. So this episode is going to focus on defining failure and also redefining failure. So failure, to me, it's hard to even see, I guess, what it usually is defined as. I guess the standard definition of failure will be more like, I guess the more familiar definition will be when you do not succeed at a task. When you miss the mark on a goal. We have this sort of social mindset, this mentality that we shouldn't be failing. When we're in school, when we get bad grades, we fail. There's not really any focus on, oh well, we tried something new. We're kind of trained up to think we shouldn't be failing. And I actually want to quote a little bit from the Millionaire Success Habits book by Dean Graziosi. And this particular section is actually one of his happiness habits. So I'm going to take a look at some of these things and then jump into how we can assess failure from here on out. So in this book, he's quoting Winston Churchill saying that the definition of success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. And, that in and of itself, like that. So now we're looking at what success is. And I might talk a little more about it later, but honestly, it might as well fit into this episode. So success isn't necessarily, it's not just hitting the mark. It's almost like it takes a building up to hitting the mark. It takes a finalization of hitting that mark. In the Slight Edge book by Jeff Olson, he talks about the quantum leap. And, with the Slight Edge, it's about taking small steps, getting up to, eventually getting up to a goal or something. So he used this example of the quantum leap, which is when a molecule goes from, if I remember correctly, it goes from one level of energy or something, and then it suddenly jumps. It's like another level. So the initial definition is suddenly jumps. So think about that in terms of success. Overnight success, sudden success. But he redefined it as eventually jumping. That molecule, it doesn't suddenly jump, it eventually jumps. And that one word difference makes all the difference in the world. So that's to say, that molecule didn't out of nowhere jump. It was building up the momentum, building up the potential energy, so that when the time came, it finalized into that next level. So when we think about success isn't a sudden overnight achievement. It is a build-up. It is based off of a build-up of things that leads us to that success. So, like taking a test, for example, you don't typically, at least for me, because I'm not a good test taker, I don't typically come into a test and just succeed overnight. Like I don't just walk into it cold and just pass it with straight A's. There is a buildup of studying, of learning and practicing. There is that buildup that leads to eventual success. Making this film the way I wanted to, or I feel that, whatever it is, let's not get bogged down with the fact that we failed, but understand, okay, what can I learn from this? So when I try again, or when I apply this to a different area, I know what to do or what not to do. The only way we fail is by trying something new. And we're going to get into later on some stuff about comfortability and fear and how those things play into when failure occurs or doesn't occur. But, I want us to first start off by assessing what failure is and what it's not. Failure isn't, it's not a moment where we should be giving up. I mean, if we do give up, then we've truly failed, and not just failed and learned, but we pretty much quit. And that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We don't try something once and then just quit and never do it again. And I'm saying that I've been guilty of doing that. I would try to reach out to somebody for something, wouldn't get a response. I think, okay, well, I just won't try it again. But we need to go into any project, any task, anything that we're called to do, anything that we have a desire of doing. Understand that failure is a part of the process, but it is a learning moment. It is a moment that calls to the fact that you tried something new, that you did something that was in uncharted territory, and you were able to learn and grow and develop from that. And then we then have some material, some resources to apply to the next thing. And so for me with filmmaking, I failed. I would say that I failed in making a good quality film. My first 3 short films were kind of boo-boo. They were okay. I was proud of having made them. Not that they were the best thing on earth, but those, as far as a level of quality, kind of failed. But that's okay. I have to fail at first. I have to start somewhere so that I can know how to actually maneuver my way to getting to the quality that I actually have, the expectation that I've set for myself. So, it's okay to make mistakes. It's almost welcomed to make mistakes, to try something and see that it doesn't work. Don't be afraid to fail. Fear of failure discourages us from doing what we're called to do. And we're gonna look into that later on, how fear of failure plays into our overall journey with these different projects we have going on. And I hope that this touches your heart, that you are able to analyze your day-to-day life to see where you have failed and how you bounce back from that. Like I said, failure is a part of the process. So let's embrace it, let's welcome it, let's understand it, and let's move forward. So next week we're going to talk about failure on the level of how we feel, and I'm really excited to get into that, because that's what I've dealt with in battle recently. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share this with your friends and be on the lookout for the next episode. They come out every Wednesday morning. You can follow me on Instagram at _JoshTheCreative, and you can find my music on SoundCloud under Lewis Effect. I'll catch y'all next week. Deuces.